Welcome to the 4 Pillars of Men's Health, a podcast of resources for restoring vigor and vitality, bringing you top influencers in the men's health arena, case studies of men who have succeeded and how they did it, and cutting-edge teaching on men's health issues from America's leading men's health guru, Dave Skattum. Get ready to take steps towards good health. Here's your host, Dave Skattum.
Hey, welcome to the 4 Pillars of Men's Health. Thanks for joining and listening in. I'm so excited about these recent podcasts I've been doing that I've called Your Story. I'm just interviewing guys that I know that have reached some level of success in being a healthy guy, and we talk about their life, the good, the bad, the ugly, the murkiness, all the stuff that happens in our lives. And what I hope that happens is that you listening to this will get some good ideas about how you can become more healthy through these stories. And I'm especially excited to be interviewing on my podcast today a guy that I've known for many years. His name is Josh Willprecht. Josh, I'm so happy that you are here, and thanks for taking the time out to be with me today. Thanks for joining my show.
Yeah, Dave, great to be here. It's great to always connect again. Like you said, We've known each other for a while, and it's great to see our paths cross again and on this podcast. Excited.
Cool. Hey, so the first thing I'd like to start off with is just kind of so people can get to know you a little bit more is a brief introduction. And you said you just told me that you've been married for 10 years, and you have 3 kids, ages 1 to 6. Man, that sounds like a wild ride in the evenings. So that sounds really fun. Yeah, and you're also you've been involved in banking for years. You're a credit underwriter with Plains Commerce, and is that right?
Yes,
Plains
that's correct.
Commerce. And you've recently started up this pretty cool kind of a spiritual ministry called Transform Life, and I'd like to talk about that sometime in our podcast. But doing a lot of good stuff. So I appreciate that, Josh, and looking forward to your insights on what you can talk to us about regarding men's health today. I'd like to start these things off with just getting a feel for what is immediately like on the front burner with you. Like Josh Willprecht, what is getting you up in the morning? What are you thinking about a lot? What's really happening that's a real time, like at the front of your mind and the front burner of your life?
Yeah, what gets me excited every day is just seeing people's lives change and transform into where they're going, their path. And so for me, I get to every day I get to help a bank and their customers succeed by underwriting credit, and that's exciting for me. I like numbers, so that's something I like to do.
Cool.
Well, ultimately, a passion for me is just connecting with people, and that's where this Transform Life ministry came to be about. And every day I wake up wondering who I can connect with to help them along their journey. And so we're excited to see where that's going to go.
That is really cool. One of the things that I just caught there when you were talking is you said the thing that you really get jazzed about is when people's lives transform. So I want to peel that back a little bit with you. When you say that, does that mean like people are winning the lottery, or they've been working out at the gym, now they're all buff? What exactly do you mean, or what is maybe you can share a story about somebody that has a life transforming moment in their life? Get a little bit deeper on that. What's that mean to you, and why is that exciting to you?
Yeah. So what that means to me is, we're all going through things, and for those that are listening to the podcast today, this is being interviewed during the COVID-19 time, and so what we're seeing is, and this is while it can be it can be a scary time for many. I think this is also a time where we transform. I feel like it's in the we're not immune to the valleys that we are in, but ultimately our faith and our strength is fueled by the valleys. And so that's what excites me about where we are, that people are ready to see change in their life. And so where I come in at is I at least like to come alongside people and just see how they're feeling. Everyone is experiencing this differently. And so I know if I'm feeling a certain way, chances are somebody just like me is feeling the same way. So what we're trying to do is just kind of create some authentic community, and that's where we see transformation when people come alongside, support and encourage, and it's just so inspiring to see.
Yeah, man, that's pretty cool. And to be a part of people's lives at critical times is such an amazing experience. And just to have those experiences in my life, when I look back, and I've seen people come in and out of my life that have like had huge impacts. And sometimes it's as small as a wave and a smile, and sometimes it's like a many-year relationship. But it's really a valuable thing to have people come alongside you. So I appreciate that. Hey, let's talk about the, men's health. I'm a amateur history buff kind of guy, and when I think of like a healthy guy, my mind wanders off to the Greco-Roman era, and I picture these great sculpturists, chiseling out this in what I think in their mind was the perfect specimen of a man, in these marble statues that you see in that area of our world. And I'm just curious, if you Josh Willprecht you had those talents, and you could chisel out this perfect man and put him up on that, those Greek columns or those Roman columns, and say, you know what, this is my idea of the perfectly healthy man. But how would you describe that person?
Sometimes when we look in the mirror and I look who Josh Willprecht is, it's like, man, I don't know. But there's times where I feel like, we all look at each other, especially as guys. We're like, man, how am I measuring up? How am I measuring up? Where am I compared to where I think I should be? And ultimately, for me, I try to diagnose it each and every day. And for me, that the health of a man isn't necessarily indicated on how he looks on the outside. For me, the most important thing is balance. Balance is the most important thing. I was just actually yesterday was a big day at our house. Our 4-year-old Jenna she just decided that she didn't like her training wheels anymore, and I'm like, well, we're taking them off and we're going. And
really?
There she was.
Cool.
Lo and behold, riding her bike by herself. Very proud.
Really?
At that moment, and more proud for her. So,
wow,
Dave, that's what I think about. I think of balance. That's the type of balance I think about. Yeah,
a balanced person. So when you say balanced, does that mean, describe that a little bit more? Tell us a little bit more. Balanced, like what's imbalance look like to you, and what's balance look like in a person's life?
Yeah, so I guess I'll use my daughter as the object here. I mean, when we first got started, she really didn't know how to balance on her bike. She would put more weight on the handlebars, or she would try to lean a certain way, or she would try to stop because she was unsure. Well, I think that our balance as human beings, I think many things are connected to the way we hold the handlebars, the way we sit on our seat. And what I mean by that is I'm talking physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, environmental. All those things play a part. They all each play a role. One thing's the handlebars, one thing's the tire, one thing's the chain. They all come together. And if we have a good balance, we're able to move, and we're able to move in a direction that is moving where we desire, where we want to go in our life, or where God's calling us to go, whatever leads you. But we need to have balance in order to move.
That's cool. Yeah, I can just picture us being on this bike, and if we're, for example, if we're really focused on getting our body, muscular and working out at the gym and all that stuff, and that goes really well. But if you're like not focused at all on your emotional self and how you're doing emotionally or mentally or whatever other area, it's almost like you're hemorrhaging. You're just going to fall right off the bike.
Yeah, that's just it, Dave. I can tell you, I've dealt with this recently, and for those that are listening today, you've probably gone through your own valleys. And during this whole COVID thing, we've been kind of isolated. And for me, one of the things I love to do is connect with people. And I haven't been able to do that in a way that's been, we'll say, normal or regular, where we could get together person to person, face to face. And for me, that was really suffocating and kind of isolating, because it's like, man, if I'm not able to do what I feel I'm being led to do, then you start talking about and thinking about, well, where's my worth, and where and what am I doing? And if I can't follow my passion, what's going on? And so for me, that emotional health wasn't as stable as I'd like it to be. And as a result, I noticed, guess what? I was in there snacking more, and I was worried more on things where I wasn't devoting the time to my family. And so for me, it's really a chain reaction.
Yeah, that's really descriptive of how life is. So you talked about a good, healthy person as somebody that has balance in their life. As you look around and you see people and you hear stories and read things about people, what do you see as being one of the main kind of like hurdles or issues that happen to us that keep us away from being a balanced or healthy person?
I think busyness. I think that is the paramount thing. And one of the things that I've heard quoted many times, but it seems to be true, is that if the devil can't make you bad, he'll make you busy. And man, I just feel like the times where I get off balance is when he just gives me things that can make me busy. And so even when you called me up and like, hey, you're interested in the podcast? I'm like a yes man. That's who I am in my inner core. It's like, I want to say yes and I want to please, and I know that about myself. But at the same time, it's like, okay, what's the purpose? Is this going to help the mission of encouraging and inspiring and helping people transform? And obviously the answer is yes. So it's the busyness. Is this is the thing I'm doing now, or the things that's in my face, is that going to help me pursue my passion and ultimately help people?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, as you're talking, I mean, it's like it's almost like life is not really that complicated. You said the thing that makes us healthy is balance and focusing on all aspects of our life, and the thing that gets in our way of good health is busyness, and then we become unbalanced. And like your example of the bike, you fall off the bike, and so life is not that complicated if you just keep your balance and not get overly busy and keep focused on your passion and your mission in life. That's pretty simple, really, when you think about it.
It's simple and so hard at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like we know that we're facing this issue, but it's like the issue just doesn't go away, and it finds new ways to nag at us. And then all of a sudden, because we're busy and like, man, this is so tough right now, then you start making excuses, and you justify the excuses, and all of a sudden you're down the road and you're like, man, this isn't the road I took my bike on, but here we are now, and I feel stuck.
Yeah. Wow, that's really good. So this gets a little more personal with you, but if you could look back over your life and think of times in your life where like a key person or a key situation or an important circumstance happened that propelled you either really in a close way or a vast way towards good health, or the opposite, maybe it pulled you away. But can you think of times in your past where there was key moments or key people or key circumstances that you can put your finger on and say, that happened and that made a lot of difference? Can you think of that regarding your health?
Yeah, I think the biggest change that I saw, and we all experience this differently and have a different insight, but for me, it's faith. For those that do have a strong faith, or those that don't, I think that we can all relate that we need to have a center. We need to have a North Star. We need to have a vision of where we're going with our life. And for me, honestly, it was the moment where I gave myself to something higher, and that's when I began to see that I needed to really resist the things that take life from me, and I really need to start assisting the things that give life to me. And so when I started doing that in my life, I began to see some of the things I gave up were hard initially because I really liked them, but it was replaced by something that was life-giving, that was sustaining, and that took me a direction that I never thought I could go. And that's really what it's like. One thing inspires you, and then you move to the next thing, and it just keeps going. So it's been really good. So for me, I would say that it's assisting the good things and resisting the bad things. And for me, it was finding faith.
Yeah. And that's some really vivid imagery about finding your North Star, finding a direction in your life. This might be a little bit politically incorrect or a little personal, but when you say that your faith was transformational to you, like me, I'm more of an intuitive type person, and more emotional. I make decisions intuitively and emotionally, but people out there that are really like logical and factual and things like that. So when you say my faith really helped me, my response is, man, God is my best friend, because that's how my design, my makeup is that way. But what about? Tell me a little bit more about that when you said you gave yourself over to faith, or I can't remember exactly how you phrased that, but get a little more personal about that and what specifically happened there.
Yeah, so I'll make it relatively brief because this is a story where God's been chipping away at a long time. But just to give you something, we'll just go to college, and for me, it was me living a life a way that was fun for me, and it was all about me, and I was doing me, and it was all about what I was doing. And what I kept finding was that it was leading to destruction in my life. Man, I was like flunking out of college, all right? And I was at a point where I really just didn't like who I was. And I was just so fed up that I didn't, I have nowhere else to go. I'm gonna give this Jesus thing a try, and I'm gonna fully believe that He's there in my life. And so I did that, and I prayed that someone would come into my life that would help lead me. And 3 days later, I met my wife.
Wow!
And of course, we didn't
3 days.
3 days later, yes.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So
that's great.
It's wild. But it's one of those things where that's just one instance, and it's happened over and over again. People are like, well, prayers are just coincidence. Well, it seems like for me that whenever I pray, the things that seem to work out, and that can't be coincidence all the time, can it?
Right.
And so I just keep seeing God come over and over again, refining me and leading me to a place that I can be more fruitful and help people. And I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for me giving up the life that I had to follow Him in a way that pleases Him. So. Yeah.
Cool. And that's really good about just that whole journey and that whole experience of, and for me anyway, when I am in that place, that North Star that you referred to earlier in our session becomes more vivid and more real and more bright in my life. It resets me, So that's really good stuff there. All right. Hey, so we're near the end here, and I just want to wrap this up by telling us a little bit more about this thing that you have going on. It's life transformation, and how is it something that people can get involved with that are not in your specific location, or tell us a little bit about how somebody can get involved with it and what the purpose of it is, and how you can press the go button on that if you're interested.
Yeah, absolutely. So our ministry is called Transform Life, and you can find us. The easiest way to find us is probably on Facebook, Transform Life Ministry on Facebook. Also, we're in the process of getting our website up. We're a very new ministry, so that'll be transformlifeministry.com. Cool. Or you can reach me on email at transformlifeministry@gmail.com. But why you want to get plugged into our ministry, the whole goal of this thing is having authentic community we're in an age where we are so connected that ultimately we're kind of disconnected. Yeah. We just have so much easy access to people that it almost deters us, because we have 1,000 friends, but how many close friends do we really have that we can call on when life gets really hard? And that's what this is designed to do. We want to create authentic community that we're all searching something together. And so we have online devotionals that we do every single day. It's so simple and self-paced. You can put 5 minutes into it. You can put an hour into it. But ultimately, you have a group of people there to encourage. And so that's why I would encourage any man or woman, whoever is listening, to join. If you want to have an authentic relationship, check us out, and I would love to connect with you.
You've been listening to The 4 Pillars of Men's Health with Dave Skattum. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit the4pillarsofmenshealth.com.